Hi guys, welcome back to Sim UK. This is X-Plane 11, something I've been trying desperately to get back into for a long time now. And thankfully today, I'm going to at least have a go. So I think it's only fair that I start with the flight score. That might not be the most interesting thing for you guys to watch. I apologise if that is the case. But I want to see how much I've learnt and how different things are in X-Plane 11. Now, this isn't my first go. I had a couple of flights over the last couple of days, and it feels fantastic. It is so much better than FSW. But what FSW has done is teach me how to fly. Now, I've played FSX for quite a long time, and I was really good at taking off, whacking the autopilot on, following the GPS via autopilot, and then landing 90% of the time. That's how I flew. Now I feel like I can fly an aeroplane. And FSW, excuse me, and FSW is what made that happen. So regardless of the differences between the two, FSW definitely has its place. The flight school here is very limited, and there's no exams for you to take in order to prove that you have learnt the skills that are necessary. That's something that I think is lacking in X-Plane 11. If that were to be added, and I don't see really why it shouldn't be added, or missions for that matter, but if that was added, X-Plane 11 would be the ultimate go-to flight sim for me. It performs brilliantly, it looks fantastic straight out of the box, it's got lots of planes to pick from, and it just feels superb. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the flight school, and we'll see what happens. And I'm not editing any of this. Well, there'll be editing, but if I crash and burn, that will be in the video. I'm not one of these YouTubers who just shows you the day and the time that I got it all right. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. I learnt from it. We move on. Here we go. Explain basics. Now, I'm not going to do this one because this is quite literally a case of do your controllers work in the game, which mine do most of the time. Sometimes I have some serious problems, but most of the time that's fine. Takes a while to set up, I must say. So let's do the takeoff, the Taildragger takeoff, landing, traffic patterns, and then we'll have a look at navigation. Well, we're working, but my gosh, it feels weird. That's not good. Let me try something here. Now that's not good. I'm not sure what is causing that. This is completely vanilla. And this used to work perfectly, but now not at all well. Okay, well, let's just fight on through it, I guess. Let's walk you through your first takeoff in the Cessna 172 SP. Oh, there we go. It was that stupid thing that was causing it to be all broken. In a moment, I'll ask you to disengage the parking brake and add full power for takeoff. Since the C-172 is a single-engine propeller aircraft, you will feel the aircraft veer to the left when you're at high power settings. Use right rudder to keep the plane in the centre of the runway, either by twisting your joystick or using your rudder pedals if you have them. Well, today I'm using the X56 Rhino. I do have the full Cytec system, but I just didn't feel like getting it out today. But we will, because it's got all the switches and the buttons and the key and everything, and it's super cool. But I want to get all the cameras set up and everything, so we're gonna delay doing that until I'm ready to really give it some time. Okay, once we reach 55 knots, you will gently raise the nose of the plane to get off the ground. Let's get started. Okay. Press the B key to disengage your parking brakes. Or I can just click here. Okay, whenever you're ready, add full power. Now, one thing that's interesting is On the X56 Rhino, I have the throttle control, which has 2 throttle elements. Now, unless I've set it up wrong, the interesting thing here is that the left one is not... I've set the left one to engine 1 and the right one to engine 2. And when you're in a single prop aircraft, it seems that engine 2 is the throttle control. So it's interesting. I don't know, I'll look into that a bit more. Yes, here we go. Watch for 55 knots. There we go. And that just takes off beautifully, like it should. And it doesn't do that in FSW. That much is certain. So I'm going to try and trim for 75, which feels totally different. This is your altimeter. Read it like a clock. The small hand is thousands of feet. The big hand is hundreds of feet. Continue climbing until you reach 1500 feet. Wilco. Oh, we're a bit high actually. And wow, yes, look, I've come off my trajectory quite significantly there. First thing I'll say, the most obvious, immediate thing is that this is really responsive. There's 750, I'm halfway to 1500. I'm not really paying attention to the altitude, if I'm being honest. The trim is realistic. Look at that. The graphics are wonderful. I'm hitting between 30 and 45 FPS, which is just fine. You can see my trim adjusting there. It adjusts really quickly. Now in FSW, adjusting the trim is a horrible experience. I'm not sure what the trim was doing then. Okay, at 1400 feet, start adjusting. Crikey. This is your vertical speed indicator, or VSI. The needle points up when you're climbing and down when you're descending. Since you want to level off here at 1500 feet, you will want to try and keep the VSI needle at 0. Level off to maintain 1500. Now, I've got to say that it is really responsive, and that in itself, it makes it really difficult to fly. No idea what the trim is doing. The trim's a bit broken at the moment. Oh wow, it gives you performance feedback. This is quite cool. I wasn't expecting this. A total score of 82%, which is okay considering I was really concentrating on other things and talking to you. Takeoff distance 94%, takeoff airspeed 71%, mean airspeed 76%. Excellent. Well, that's a pass in my book. Let's go try something else. Welcome to my first Taildragger takeoff. This is the Stinson L5. And what a little beauty she is. Except for that rip in the seat. But that gives her lots of realism. Oh yes, look at this. My goodness me. It's basically made out of scaffolding, isn't it? Wow, would you look at that? Scaffolding and string. That's proper flying, that is. That's old school flying. At low speeds in a Taildragger, you'll need to pull back on the joystick slightly to keep the nose up and the tail wheel firmly on the ground. Otherwise, you'll lose the ability to steer. Okay, that's important. Can't do it yet. Eventually, your tail will naturally rise and the aircraft's body will be parallel to the ground. At that point, you'll be able to move the joystick back to neutral and simply steer like usual. Now, to an absolute beginner, that is confusing. Move the joystick back to neutral. That could really confuse somebody, but I know what it's saying. It's fine. Return it to neutral position. Understood. As you're steering down the runway, watch your airspeed indicator and start pulling back when you hit 50 miles per hour. Over here. So this is MPH. Okay. Go ahead and turn off the brakes and slowly increase the throttle till about halfway. God, look at the electrics hanging out the back here. Goodness me. Right, I'd love to release the handbrake. That's carb mixture. Where's the damn handbrake? Is it this? Let's just press B and see what moves. What moved? Nothing moved. Is that the handbrake? Okay, I don't know where the handbrake is. I'll grant you that much. Right. Half power. Pulling to the left ever so slightly. Pulling back on the throttle to maintain the tail wheel on the floor. Now, I'm going way too fast here. Way too fast. I've lost control of the aircraft. Right. In a Taildragger, you're meant to meander. Like so. Because you can't see anything. And in order not to hit stuff in front of you, you have to veer across the runway like so. But anyway, we're not doing that. We are going for a full takeoff. So let's get ourselves moving in a forwardly direction. Making sure the stick is back. My God, this thing is sensitive. Full throttle. Oh my word. Right, 50, and oh my word, that all just happened so quickly. And that's kind of what happened when I was flying the Spitfire in the same way. It's going to, I tell you what, right, the biggest difference of it all is the sensitivity in X-Plane 11. And when you're flying an aircraft, when you're learning to fly an aircraft, the thing that you're going to hear more than anything else is be gentle with the controls. Don't be aggressive. Everything. Oh, bush flying. Yeah, that could be fun. Yeah, don't do anything too brashly. Don't be too aggressive with the controller or the throttle or anything at all. In Flight Sim World, if you're not aggressive with it, nothing happens. It's a horrible game from that perspective. It doesn't feel realistic at all, and it makes it very difficult to have finite control over things. And in FS World, the biggest issue for me was there was very little, way too much, and that's because it's not configured properly. It's not very good in that sense. Again, I have to say, it's brilliant for teaching you how to learn how to fly an aircraft. The technical skills that you need to learn and then put it into practice is fantastic. But then when you step out of Flight Sim World and into X-Plane 11, you've then got to relearn how to gently control the aircraft. And clearly, from this, I haven't got that yet. It's going to take time. And then obviously if I ever go back to FS World, then I'm going to have to be overly aggressive again, and it's all going to feel very unnatural. So Flight Sim World is brilliant for starting out, but if you really want to fly X-Plane 11 or maybe P3D, I've not tried P3D, PD3, 3DP, can't remember what it's called, but you know what I mean. That's supposed to be very good. I haven't tried it, but it's kind of built on the FSX architecture, so I rather feel like it's going to be more like Flight Sim World than X-Plane 11. But yeah, just some thoughts. Whoops, it was too quick there. I kind of started progressing to the next thing before we got our report card back. So let's just expand this and see how we did. Right, so a total score of 75%. I think that's being rather generous, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, let's be fair. The actual physical takeoff procedure, the actual the actual period, the actual point where we took off from the floor was so aggressive that if you were really in this aeroplane, you'd be wearing your testicles as earrings. I mean, it was pretty abrupt. That's maybe the wrong way round. Maybe wearing your testicles as socks, toe warmers or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was pretty aggressive. But it seems like here the main reason why I lost points was for the takeoff distance. And that's because I was meandering down the runway before I tried to take off. So, I mean, that's not even accurate. That's just pointless. But yeah, 75% considering the amount of effort I'm putting in is perfectly fine. So let's end the training here and let's progress to the next thing, I think. Okay, flight school. Landing in the Cessna 172. Landing an airplane can be incredibly daunting. Take it one step at a time, though. And you can learn to pilot the Cessna 172 safely down to the ground in no time. Right, here we are. Let me just re-centralise myself. There we go. So that big green arrow is pointing at the runway. We are on a final approach to SeaTac, Kilo Sierra Echo Alpha, runway 16 left, runway 16 left, preparing to land our Cessna 172. So I can see the throttle's round about halfway, so we're going to make sure that we're in that position before we go anywhere. Mixture is full and nothing else really matters. Nothing really matters. Okay, as we approach, you'll want to keep the plane's nose pointed down just a bit so the runway is above the cockpit glare shield. Go ahead and try it. Now, I'm having some serious trimming issues. Also, incidentally, if you notice, when X-Plane 11 hands you over to the aircraft doesn't suddenly lurch up into the sky or drop out of the sky like it does in Flight Sim World. Just small details that really make this stand out as a grown-up realistic simulator in comparison to Flight Sim World. Just saying, I'm just saying, okay? Yeah, so I am having some issues with my trim control here, so this could be a bit ugly. As we approach, you want to keep the plane's nose down just a bit so the runway above the cockpit glare shield. Go ahead and try it. So let's just try it. So we've got our throttle where we want it. Just going to dip the nose. There we go. Looks good. Thank you. We're going too fast. Let's reduce the throttle to about 30%. Seems like a good idea. Go ahead and lower a notch of flaps. You can press 2. This will slow us down a bit as we descend. We want to be slower than 90 knots. Now that's interesting. We've swapped from mph to knots, but there's no real communication of that having happened, which again for absolute beginners would just be horrible. The same applies in Flight Sim World. Now just want to trim forward a bit. It seems to be working better now. That's good. Our altitude is a bit higher than it should be. Oh nuts, I didn't read what it said. Lower the nose and reduce the throttle to increase our rate of descent. Now again, I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing. Oh, see, look, the trim's gone off on one. The trim just went off on one there. Now can't... Right, I'm going to have to actually concentrate on flying here for a second, just to get us back where we need to be. So I'm going to have to figure out this trim issue, because that's not great as it is. Some work is definitely required. We're getting close, yes we are. I'm slightly off the correct radial. Let's lower a notch of flaps. By the time we touch the ground, we want to be at idle throttle with full flaps. Understood. Go ahead and lower the final notch of flaps. Final notch of flaps. We are seriously slow now. Too high. Reduce power so that you glide to the runway. Well, if I do that, then we're just going to drop out the sky. And we're not going fast enough. Okay, I've got to watch that speed. Speed is so important when you're coming into land. Nothing else really matters. Yeah, I know. We're right on the brink of stalling out the sky. Raise the nose up a bit just before you touch the ground for a soft touchdown. That wasn't a brilliant touchdown. Oh gosh. Apply the brakes. I haven't actually bound anything to brakes. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. We're going to have to put the old handbrake on because I haven't bound anything to be a brake yet. I had some issues with that. Way to go! Landing performance 89%. Now that makes me feel a lot better than I should because it wasn't that good. Off-road ratio 100%. Oh, because we didn't go off-road. Okay. Max landing force in G 76%. Not great. We did hit the ground rather hard. Max centerline deviation 88%. Landing distance 93%. Okay, good. Well, yeah, overall pretty good. But once again, the trim obviously is an issue because in Flight Sim World you have to. Oh my god, I've got this little rotating dial here, and if I want to drop, say I'm flying straight and level and I don't adjust the throttle, I have to do 5 full rotations if I want to drop, say, 200 to 300 feet. That's how much I have to turn it in FS World. In this, if I touch it once and it moves 1 notch, it has a marked, noticeable difference in the flight, as it were. So it's not perfect in X-Plane 11, but it's certainly more sensitive than Flight Sim World. Everything is more sensitive than Flight Sim World at the moment. Let's move on to the next thing. Traffic patterns. Okay, I think this should be fun. Sorry about that. Didn't get a lot of sleep last night. We're ready to fly our first traffic pattern. We're just going to take off, circle around parallel to the runway, and then turn back towards the runway to land right back here. So let's change our... Oh man, I can't do anything. Follow the green checkpoint markers for a perfect pattern. Oh, let's boost that up straight away. Right, let's move the heading bug to kind of here. It doesn't matter that I've just bullsed that up because it's just traffic pattern. Look where we are. Look at this. This is so cool. I don't recognise it fully. No. I'd be a fool to guess where we are. I've no idea. Right. Bit of throttle. Handbrake off. Get the rudder under control. And away we go. Now I still don't have the perfect 55 takeoff anytime you like. Very gentle. Very gentle. Yeah, I still don't have the trim sorted out, and I'm nowhere near used to the sensitivity of the aircraft. But you know, we're going to give it a try. I'm trying to climb at 75 knots, knowing that that is the best climb speed for this aircraft, but finding it really difficult to do so. I'm noticing also that the flight dynamics are very different to Flight Sim World. I'm not sure what altitude I'm meant to be at. Is it 600 feet or 1,000? I'm going to level out at 1,000 and just hope that that's about right. Oh, 1,100 feet. There we go. Just in time then. Just before I took the power off. Oh, this is so much nicer to fly. Actually feels like and flying rather than fighting an aircraft. Right. So swinging round to the right here. Trying to keep my altitude fairly constant. This is so much more gentle a flight experience, so much more sensitive. Whoa, where did all that extra power come from? It's weird. Now I'm not going to use trim because my trim wheel configuration is all over the place. And I've gained like 200 feet there for some reason. So let's just take a fairly sizable bank to the right. Some height at the same time, and then put the power back and try and level out. See, now I really desperately want to trim forward, but I can't. Trim is busted. Well, it's not busted, let's just try trimming a bit because I'm struggling to hold that. We've entered the downwind. Oh man, he's taking control for some reason. You can keep yourself oriented during the pattern by looking over your shoulder at the runway. Well, I could, but not in this screen. Remember that you can recenter your view by pressing Shift +9. Thanks. I'm using head tracking. Okay, controls are yours again. Fantastic. Okay. Need a smidge more power. Wow, it's so responsive. It is so responsive. This is what I don't have when I'm playing FSW. There is no responsiveness at all. I give the throttle loads and nothing happens. In this aircraft, if you touch the throttle, everything changes. You know. This is so much better. This is how flying should be, I think. Not that I've ever flown, so I'm basing this on basically a lot of books that I've read, a lot of PPL flight training documentation that I've read, flight training videos that I've seen. Pretty soon we'll turn in for the base phase of the traffic pattern, followed quickly by our final approach. Okay, yes. Well, I can't see the runway anymore. It's over there somewhere, isn't it? Alrighty then, we seem to have dropped 100 feet again. Cannot get trimmed. We're at the right speed, 90. We just need to get back up to 1100 feet and then we'll be a chappy. Looks like we're turning right any second now. Here we go. Having flown FSW so much in recent months, this just feels totally unnatural now. Well, it feels natural, but I don't have the dexterity in my hands to fly well at present. This is awesome. Look how fantastic this looks. Straight out the box. Not a single add-on. Just wonderful. Just wonderful. Okay, so we're still at 20 RPM. Alright. Let's line up with the runway for our final approach. This is a stunning area. I'd love to fly here. This is gorgeous. Losing a bit of height there. We are coming into land, so maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay, so I'm at 1,000 feet. I'm going to drop the RPMs. To about 18,000. Flaps down. trim forward. I'm struggling here. Power off. Second notch of flaps. I haven't done anything quick enough here. That's the problem I'm having. Still at 1,000 feet. This is going to be a very amateur landing, but it will be a landing. In fact, I'm going to have to go full flaps here just to have any chance of slowing down enough to get on the runway. I mean, we're only small, so we could pretty much land on a pack of matches, but yeah, we're going to be right up the runway. We're not going to get a good score for this. So we're doing 70. I can ease up quite a bit now because I know that we're going to hit the runway, and I know we're going to have enough runway to land. Now, what the heck was brakes? One of these two, wasn't it? Missed the centre. Oh no, I have to use the handbrake, I forgot. Handbrake on, because we don't have any brakes. There we go. Nicely done. 85%. Oh, 77. Okay. Wasn't great. It was really tricky. I mean, it's something I do in Flight Sim World a lot, but it just feels so completely different that it's difficult. 56% for centerline deviation. Landing distance 60%. That's because, yeah, okay, that's all fair. I mean, it was crap. Takeoff speed, terrible. Takeoff distance, not very good. Centerline deviation was good, and off-road ratio was 100%, obviously. Okay, good. So 77%. And I feel throughout the entirety of that flight that I was in control of the aircraft enough to be safe. But clearly, everything feels different here. Noticeably different. And that's not a criticism in any way. It just means it's going to take me a few weeks to really nail this. Now, I am moving away from Flight Sim World, but I kind of want to do the final flight exam, so I will still be doing that, but needless to say, I'll be transitioning over to X-Plane 11 thereafter. I'm really, really genuinely looking forward to it as well, especially when I got my full kit out. That's going to be great fun. So yeah, okay, let's end the training there. What's next? Traffic pattern, we've done that. Navigation, VOR navigation. If you want to fly cross country without the benefit of a GPS, you'll need to learn to use VOR navigation. Fly this tutorial to learn how real pilots fly from point A to point B. Wow, that loaded so quickly. We're ready to start navigation to Juno International. I'm going to fly for a moment to get you oriented. Okay. We're flying the 295 radial to the Sisters Island VOR. The VOR transmitter is like the hub of a bike wheel, and it sends out 360 radials, the spokes of the wheel, to tell you where you are in relation to the hub. So we're going to follow one of these spokes, radials, to reach Sister Island, and then we'll follow another radial away from Sister Island to get to Juno. Okay, we're on the 295 radial, the spoke, coming from the VOR transmitter, hub, at the heading 295. The hoops in front of us visualise that radial. That's what they are. I did wonder. He's got the aircraft, right? He's flying, yes? I have no idea. I don't even know what that said. Now we're on the 295 radial, but since the radials are measured as the heading when going away from the VOR, we're instead going toward it. That means we'll fly a course of 115 degrees, the inverse heading of 295. Understood. Take a look at your course deviation indicator, or CDI. There it is. The vertical bar here is the lateral horizontal course deviation indicator. The CDI shows where our course is in relation to the aircraft itself. Since I've tuned our navigation radio to fly the 295 radial of the Sisters Island VOR, and we're right on track for that radial, you can see that the CDI is centered. Yep. But watch what happens when we drift off course. It moves. I'm being a bit flippant about it, but this is actually really cool stuff. But watch what happens when we drift off course. Do you see the vertical course deviation indicator drifting to the left of centre? It indicates that since we've deviated to the right, we've deviated to the left. Just to clarify, we have deviated to the left of the point, but yeah, okay. It indicates since we've deviated to the right, we need to adjust our course to the left to re-intercept the radial. That is not going to work. So as far as the tutorials go in X-Plane 11, not a great deal of attention has been applied to it, I'd say. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going insane, am I? We are to the left of the radial. We need to adjust to the right. Yes? Just let me know in the comments if I'm insane or just totally confused. If you look out the window, you'll see that the 295 radial is over to our left. No, it is not. This agrees with the vertical course deviation indicator. No, it does not. It says it's off to the right. Whoops. Let's get back on track. That's a good idea. Where the hell are you going now? The key here is not to overcorrect. We want to turn just a... Wow, that was too fast. How could anybody ever read that? If after a few seconds we don't see the CDI bar moving, we'll deviate a bit further towards the left. As you can see, the vertical bar is starting to come back towards the centre, so we need to turn back to be lined up with the radial. No, it isn't. It's getting further away. You need to go right. You need to go right. Okay, at this point you'll know all... what? Okay, at this point you know all you need to fly the VOR. So we're going to head to Sister Island, the site of the VOR we're getting guidance from, and from there go on to Juneau International. Just follow the guidance from the course deviation indicator and we'll reach Sister Island in no time. Okay, great. Well then let's just deviate over to the right here slightly and get back on the VOR. Wow. I moan at FSW for lack of attention to detail, but that's a big biggie. That's a big bolt up. I'd like to be a bit higher. Why am I so short? Oh, that's too tall. That's better. This is how high, this is how tall I am, I feel. Okay, so here we're getting on the radial. My radial's well off. We've flown straight through the VOR radial. That would be why. I didn't turn in enough. Note that as you get closer to the VOR, the radials will get closer together, so smaller changes to your course will produce bigger changes in the course deviation indicator. Understood. I'm guessing the VOR is kind of down there, right in front of us almost. In fact, is that it on the GPS? Is that it? Not sure. I don't know how to read GPS, but not an avionics GPS anyway. Yeah, we're way off now. Okay, we're coming back onto it. So I need to turn back and get into a radial of 12. Well, not 12, is it? Slightly less than 12. Something like that. There we go. Okay, I think we're back on track-ish. Trim is playing slightly silly buggers, as per usual, but mostly we're in control of the aircraft heading in the correct direction. So that's good. I was about to say, I think we've just flown over it. Okay, we're over the Sisters Island VOR. Remember, this is like being at the hub of a bike wheel. How are we over the VOR? I'm fairly sure there's nothing below us. How do I just change the camera a second? View, external. Or maybe it's on there. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, all right. We'll accept that. Where the hell is my aircraft? Oh, it's right above us. So yeah, if I look straight down, we're kind of, yeah, we're pretty much. I mean, if it's there, then and it probably is. To be fair, then that makes sense. Control 9. No. Shift Control 9? No. Oh, nuts. View. Internal. Shift 9. So close to being right. Right. Again, I feel like I'm just a little bit too high. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. We're now going to fly the 035 radial out of the hub. Start flying away from the hub for a bit and watch your CDI closely. The needle starts to move. Turn to a heading 035, then begin correcting your heading to center the CDI again. Understood. So I'm watching it closely. Well, he turned it. That's not really a good tutorial, is it? When the thing you have to do just happens without you being told or included in the decision or the process. Also, actually seeing the yokes, I find really helps. Sort of understand how much control you have, how much finesse you're applying. Okay, so we're heading towards it now? No, away from it, I think. But still, our heading should be the same. That shouldn't change at all because we're maintaining it, right? Or have I not been paying attention? Am I meant to now be turning onto a new radial? No. No? Wasn't paying enough attention. Well, we'll just carry on this route in the hopes that I'm going the right way. In fact, if we come out, think maybe we're supposed to be changing our heading slightly. But then he tuned this, so surely I'll just follow it. I'll just stick on it for now. What's the worst that can happen? Come on, trim. This is so much more, so much calmer and more relaxing and fun. It's I'm enjoying it a huge amount. Even though I think I might be lost. Even though I think I might not have been listening to the instructions and might have gone the wrong way. But, you know, even with that, I'm having a lovely time. Where is the flipping airport? We're pretty far off course. Remember to aim the plane's nodes towards the vertical bar in the CDI. But we are. I must have missed something in that tutorial then. I wasn't really paying attention enough. I might have been reading the words, but I wasn't absorbing them, to be fair. So that was kind of my fault. But we did get a score of 100%, which just goes to show that the tutorials in this game are pretty pants. But yeah, I've got to say, I'm really enjoying it. And that's just... I don't really understand what went wrong there. Something clearly I did wrong, but... yeah, I'm not doing it again. I'm not. I refuse to, point blank. Flying an ILS approach. An airport's instrument landing system is designed to provide guidance for both your course and descent during a landing. If you want to fly a landing the way real-world pilots do, this is it. Right, now, I've never, ever, ever, ever done an ILS approach. So this could be... interesting. We're currently on downwind for runway 34 right at SeaTac. You can see the runway to our left. Oh yes. Soon the SeaTac ATC will sorry about that. Soon the SeaTac ATC will contact us with the heading and altitude we need to fly on the approach. Until then, we'll just keep it straight and level. Right, so I'm going to guess at my throttle control to try and match this. It's probably going to be wrong, which means that all the trim is going to be wrong, but there we go. Wow. Fly heading 160, maintain 5,000 feet. Vectors ILS runway 34 right at Kilo Sierra Echo Alpha. Acknowledge. Whew. Okay, so we're flying a radial of 160 at 5,000 feet. Okay, you heard okay, you heard the ATC. Let's get to a heading of 160 and an altitude of 5,000 feet. We'll be setting up for an approach to runway 34 right. Use your altimeter and heading indicator to make sure that you're on track. Remember, we're aiming for a heading of 160 and 5,000 feet. So we're dropping out the sky, which is good, because that's kind of what we need to do. And slightly off 160, just around about 160, something like that. I'm going to try and trim down a tad. Again, the trim is so not right. It feels wrong. Bearing in mind I'm coming from a flight sim world experience whereby things are just very, very different. Okay, come on, keep dropping. 5,000 feet, please. 500 feet per minute is absolutely fine. 500 feet a minute, let's see. Okay, I'm trying to hold it right there. There we go, there we go, there we go. Come on, up. Come on, Trevor. Work with me for once. Okay, so it's going to adjust our speed ever so slightly. I really need to nail this now. Dropping our speed significantly, which is okay. Crikey, look out. We're not maintaining course, we're losing height. I cannot trim this aircraft. Soon ATC will contact us and have a go at us for being under 5,000 feet. Perpendicular to the runway, entering the base phase of the approach. Until then, we just follow their last instruction, heading 160 at 5,000 feet. Okay, I'll do that as soon as I can trim like a god. Just not trimming. Hang on. Is my trim reversed? Because that would really significantly impact my ability to trim if it was actually doing the opposite of what I thought it was. And it would explain why everything feels so incredibly aggressive right now. God, I don't know. We're just going to fall out of the sky. I cannot trim. We're off course, we're below height, below altitude rather. Get up there. No idea what's going on with the trim. Nose up. Yeah, no, it's going the right way. It's going the right way, it's just not bloody doing anything I ask it to. Ah, itchy nose. I'm going to have to get used to this. Up. Right. It's round about 160. So much more delicate than FSW, and that's the problem. Kind of being really aggressive with everything, and I really don't need to be, but that's what I've learned. Okay. Turn left, heading 070, descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Drop the old power. Turn to a heading of 070. But we're almost on 070. The runway is over there to our left. I think we're just going to have to power off and drop down to 3,000 feet. Figure out, based on that, what we're trimmed at, because I haven't a flipping clue at the moment. At this point, when you look to your CDI, you should see two lines. Yep. I forgot, I'm going to be learning something new, aren't I? Once we get on course for the ILS approach, these lines, or needles, will indicate which direction you need to fly to stay on course. So that's altitude and direction, I guess? Yeah. The vertical needle shows your lateral or horizontal left to right deviation from the ILS course. Likewise, the horizontal needle shows your vertical up and down deviation. If you point the plane's nose towards the needles, for instance, by flying right when the vertical needle is off to the right, or by flying up when the horizontal needle is up above the horizontal line, you'll eventually intercept the course. Of course, this is all moot for now. We're perpendicular to the runway, so we won't start following the ILS guidance until the ATC instructs us to turn toward the runway. For now, we'll continue on a heading of 070 at 3,000 feet. Wow, ILS is really quite simple. In fact, it's easier than flying non-ILS, I would say. But yeah, we got a long way to drop. Yeah, 3,000 feet. How am I supposed to have got from 5,000 feet to 3,000 feet in that amount of time? Oh, you're joking me. You're going to fail me on that. 0, 0. Let's chat more brain engaged, please. Whoa, what is going on? 5,000 feet. Come on, get down there. 060. We're on course. Going to drop down to 5,000 feet. And we're dropping at way over 1,000 feet per minute, but that's fine. So it looks as though we're trimmed to about 80, which is perfect for setting up to land. Maybe 90 we're trimmed at. I think maybe 90. Struggling to get on this 160 radial here. $85? Are we trimmed out at 85? Something like that? Can't really tell. Really tricky. Okay, 100 feet, give it a bit more. Wellington boots. Get ourselves levelled off. Required. 21,000 RPM maybe? I think that's probably too much. I'd say about 20,000 RPM. That seems to be a logical amount of power for the trim that we had. It is. We're trimmed for 80 knots, which is perfectly fine. Just below altitude again, which is most infuriating. It's just a skill I'm going to have to develop over time. Soon ATC will contact us and have us turn perpendicular to the runway. Yes, 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 yes. Until then we just carry on doing what we're doing. Just carry on doing the do it the way you do it. No idea where that came from. Sorry about that. So I'm sort of 20 and a half RPM. We're off course? We're off course? What? 160? We're on 160. What? We're almost bang on 160. Jeez, I don't know, guys. Listen, I'm going to have a practice with this off camera, and hopefully come back to you next week with a proper flight of something to somewhere. Oh no, I'm not here next week. So in 2 weeks, I'll be back and looking to do a proper flight. So yeah, taking the family away just to the south coast of England for a week, just to get away from it all and just have some quiet time and a bit of R&R. So yeah, thanks for watching today. Apologies for ballsing this up. I'm not really sure where I went wrong on this one. If you know, please let me know in the comments section. It said we were off the radial, we weren't following a 160 heading, but as far as I can see, we're on 160, and I don't think I deviated that much. And our altitude is almost bang on 5,000 feet, so I think we were worse first time round, so I'm a bit confused by that. Anyway, overall my experience of X-Plane 11 has been absolutely wonderful. It's an absolute pleasure to be over here, finally flying an X-Plane 11. Really looking to get my teeth into this one on a serious note, and looking at add-ons and plugins and so on and so forth that I can add to really make this good. I've got loads already lined up for being included, and a few payware aircraft that I've definitely got my eye on as well. So appreciate you watching today. Hope you've enjoyed it a little bit. It's not been that exciting, I agree, but it's just my return to X-Plane 11 after having somewhat learned how to fly in Flight Sim World, but now everything's feeling a bit weird. Anyway, that's it from me. Take care of yourselves till next time. Goodbye.